What is up, YouTube? It's Ninja Cracker here, and today I'll be giving you guys my tips and tricks for going for Exclusion Zone. If you guys are really going for Exclusion Zone, or you guys just want to unlock gold camo on a certain gun or whatnot, this guide's going to be for you. Now, first off, game modes. The best game modes, ideally, for getting Exclusion Zone is definitely not Search and Destroy. Probably objective game modes are going to be the best, because if you run up on somebody that's capping a flag, most of the time they're either going to be sitting in a corner or they'll just be laying prone on the flag, which is an easy headshot most of the time. Domination is really good for this, but another one that's really good is Demolition, but Demolition of course is only a week in Warfare, and it rotates in and out every couple weeks. But when that is in rotation, you should really take advantage of that, because most people, when they're planting the bomb, those are just free headshots. Another thing I want to talk about is building your different classes. Most people just run stopping power on everything. I'm going to say stopping power is really good for all snipers. You want to be running stopping power all the time on snipers, even though you're going for headshots. And yes, most snipers are going to be a one-shot headshot, even without stopping power. But ideally, you want stopping power, even because what if the people you're going against have jug? Then that completely cancels out your sniper if you don't have stopping power, and you won't be getting one-shot headshots. But I find that stopping power is only really good for going for headshots on the M16, the M14, the G3, and then all the snipers. So basically, the burst gun, the semi-assault rifles, and all the sniper rifles. So what you want to be running stopping power on. Now, why I recommend against stopping power on most other fully automatic guns is because stopping power in this game turns most guns into a two-shot kill. And I find most of the time people aim for center mass body, which is like, you know, the center of the body, and 90% of the time they just kill them in 2 shots to the body very fast. But if you run jug or UAV jammer instead, most of the times when you're in a gunfight, your gun will kick up and get a headshot a lot of the times, a lot more often than if you're running stopping power on these fully automatic guns. So that's why for most guns I'm going to recommend a jug. It does vary depending on the guns, like I said earlier. Stopping power on all snipers, and the M16, M14, and G3, of course, those guns. Another thing to note is you don't want to just solidly just grind out one single gun or one single class of guns. You want to use whatever gun's best on that map. For instance, on Shipment, I only ever used shotguns on Shipment when I was going for Exclusion Zone, because I know shotgun headshots are very hard to come by, because you have to have a pellet hit the head, and sometimes it seems very difficult to do that, even when you're aiming right at a person's head with a shotgun. I'd actually recommend hip firing with a shotgun on Shipment, and if you find somebody like not paying attention to you, try to aim like just hip fire the bottom of your crosshair on their head, and that will most of the time get you a headshot with a shotgun. But I only ever use shotguns on Shipment, and I got my Exclusion Zone with my shotguns very fast using on Shipment. Think of Shipment as like a multiplier, but until you get your 2 shotguns, I'd recommend only using shotguns on Shipment, and just Shipment's kind of up in the air, whether sometimes you will do really good and get a lot of headshots, or sometimes you'll just be getting like fragged to death and it won't be very fun. But either way, Shipment is kind of like a multiplier. Even after you get your shotguns finished, think of it as like a multiplier, is like you can get so many more headshots on Shipment. So work on whatever gun you think would be really hard. For me, that was the Mini Uzi. I found the Mini Uzi very hard. I would recommend for the Mini Uzi running steady aim and just never ADSing, and just hip fire spraying for the head as much as you can. After I got my shotguns done, I used the Mini Uzi a lot on Shipment. But yeah, if you're playing on a large sniper map, use a sniper rifle, use an assault rifle. Don't pull out SMGs and try to use an SMG on that overgrown or those really huge maps. Yes, sometimes it'll work out for you. And another thing is, you don't want to like constantly grind out like the first gun. Say you grind out the M16 and you get a gold. You don't want to. You kind of just want to move down the line and work on them as you unlock them. Because, like, later on, like, you get the STG-44 at, like, level 50 something. You don't want to wait and save at last, because as you're proceeding, you're going to keep resetting and have to unlock everything. So I'd recommend just using the guns in order as you unlock them and not constantly grind out one gun. Because after you constantly grind out that one gun, there's not much point in using it. And if that's that's like the default gun that you're going to be using through those first like 20 to 30 levels, you're just kind of wasting time. Oh, and in my view, I've viewed it myself as just wasting time if I'm using a gun that I already have all the camos for. I just kind of move down the line as I go. One thing to really note and to really take advantage of is AFK people. Now, you're bound to run into a couple here and there eventually. I guess it depends how long you play and the lobbies you get in, but I found that I always run into a couple AFK people every day. Now, those are a free headshot, but I'm going to recommend not just going for the free headshot in your primary. Try to pull out your pistol and headshot them, because pistol headshots were very, very difficult and rather tedious for me. But another thing that really, really helps with the pistols, and I know it's really cheese, and I absolutely hate this perk with all my heart, and that's Last Stand. Last Stand helped me get my pistols done so fast, it's actually stupid. I think I got all my pistols done in like 2 days, just because I started running Last Stand in every class. But I got most of my pistol headshots, like I think I got all my pistol headshots with the M9 and the USP-45, just from AFK people. Those are just the pistols I would always run all the time in all my classes, and every time I found an AFK person, I'd just pull it out on them. You only need 50 headshots for pistols, which, excuse me, really isn't very much. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this Exclusion Zone guide. Just to recap, only use stopping power on sniper rifles, the M16, the M14, and the G3, and then the rest I'd either go for UAV jammer or jug. UAV jammer you can use to kind of flank the enemy and come up behind them if you find some snipers or just some campers that are AFK. Some people recommend playing hardcore to try to get headshots or Exclusion Zone. I don't really care for hardcore whatsoever, but if you can really just ping one person in the head, keep in mind hardcore, just about every gun in the game kills in one shot to the body, or even the legs and arms sometimes. So if you can just run around and ping one shot in the head, I guess hardcore would be good for you. But I found most of the time I got a lot of headshots just either running jug or UAV jammer on the fully automatics, and just most of the time I'll just get accidental headshots after accidental headshots, just constantly, just because my gun would kick up. I would flinch and my gun would kick up and hit him in the head, and it's free easy headshots that way. But I think that's going to wrap up this Exclusion Zone guide. This has been Ninja Cracker, and peace out, Girl Scout.
Our UAV is online. Airstrike standing by. We dropped their flag. Time is running out. Friendly airstrike on the way. They returned their flag. Helicopter support standing by. Friendly helicopter on the way.
Dude, just run. Just fucking run.
Mission accomplished.